The Dallas Cowboys wide receiver room might be one of the most overlooked parts of this Cowboys 2024 season. Sure, they have their first two wide receivers pretty much set in CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks, but outside of that, there aren't a whole lot of proven guys in that room. Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, Ryan Flournoy, Kevontae Turpin, Jalen Moreno-Cropper, and others. So those third and fourth wide receiver spots are really up for grabs in OTAs and training camp. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. It should be the Cowboys 2022 third round pick Jalen Tolbert that steps up in 2024. But will he? Let's talk about it. Since being drafted in the third round back in 2022, Jalen Tolbert has appeared in 25 games for the Cowboys, where he's caught 24 passes for 268 yards and 2 touchdowns. Throughout the first 2 years of his career, Tolbert hasn't really been what you'd hope for in a top 100 pick, but I wouldn't go as far to say that he's been a total disappointment either. In 2023, he ranked 101st in targets, 95th in receptions, 95th in receiving yards, and 64th in touchdowns. But taking into account what the Cowboys offense had in weapons last year, I'd say that wasn't a horrible season. But in 2024, he's going to need to up those numbers quite a bit. When you put it into perspective, what you're asking Tolbert to be in this offense is the fourth pass catching option. You have CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and Jake Ferguson. That in some order is going to be your 1, 2, 3, with Ferguson hopefully being the second option on this offense. So in reality, Tolbert's not going to be a 1,000-yard receiver every single year. Now, we don't get a lot of videos from OTAs, but we do get some photos and stuff. And I have to say that Jalen Tolbert has been looking good in what I've seen from OTAs. Right off the bat, I noticed that Tolbert looks to be a bit bigger than we've seen in the past few years. It looks like he's put on a bit of weight on his frame this past offseason. His draft profile says that he weighed 194 pounds when he came into the league. I dare to say that he's probably over 200 now. It looks like he's been in the weight room this offseason for sure. But getting his body right isn't the only important thing going into this year, and something that I'm going to be paying attention to is his readiness in this Mike McCarthy offense. Coming into the league, it was pretty clear that Tolbert fell behind in the Cowboys offense. He fought some injuries early in the season, and it caused him to fall behind in the offensive scheme. But after a full season, after the Cowboys moved on from Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy took over, going into year 2 of that system, I feel better about where Tolbert stands than I did even going into last year. Cowboys wide receiver coach Robert Prince said pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, we expect all those guys to make a jump. Starting with JT, he made a big jump from year 1 to year 2. We expect the same thing to happen for him going into year 3. And Jalen Brooks works hard. He's always studying, and he's one of those guys that can play all the positions. And we're looking forward to seeing what he can do this year as well.
While it's fun to get excited about the potential of Jalen Tolbert, the most important thing is going to be tempering our expectations. Although I expect this to be the best year of Tolbert's career, history really isn't on his side. Let's take a look at this list of receivers since 2015 to have less than 25 catches in their first 2 seasons in the NFL. And as you can see, these names don't give you a lot of hope for what Jalen Tolbert can be for this team moving forward. It's got names like John Mechie, De'Ami Brown, It has names like John Mechie, De'Ami Brown, Des Fitzpatrick, and Tutu Atwell, with Atwell probably being the best name on this list. So pretty much what this shows us is if a guy has less than 25 catches in the first 2 years of his career, it doesn't typically mean they're gonna pan out. The hit rate is extremely, extremely low, if there is even a hit on this list. But eventually, a wide receiver is going to buck that trend. Someone that's had less than 25 catches in their first 2 seasons will eventually break out in year 3. And I'm not saying that it won't be Jalen Tolbert. I think he's actually shown quite a bit of good things throughout his time in Dallas, both in training camp and the preseason. And he even showed good things last year during the year. The best thing for Tolbert is he's gotten better every single season. Now, am I saying that Tolbert will ever be a consistent number 2 option for this offense? Probably not. But I still think he can be a solid number 3 or even 4 option that can be viable from game to game. Think of like Cedric Wilson, for example. I think that Tolbert can be that kind of player if given the opportunity. A 500 to 600 yard guy that can make plays when you need him to. And that's really all that I'm asking from him in 2024. And like I mentioned, although the Cowboys didn't add another top wide receiver option this offseason, this team still has weapons. CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Jake Ferguson. That's who you want a majority of your targets and production coming from. They've proven that they can do it year over year. And I would be completely fine with Tolbert filling that fourth role on this team in 2024. And anything over 500 to 600 yards on the season is a huge win in my eyes. I really like Jalen Tolbert as a player, and that's going to be one guy that I will be keeping a heavy eye on in the preseason and training camp. So what do you guys think? Head down there to the comments. Let me know your stat predictions for Jalen Tolbert this coming season. Comment it down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I love you all, and I'll see you next time.